welcome back. And it's now episode 6. Crazy that we've finally made it here, but super happy that we're back doing this. We got a special guest. We talked about it last week, and I made sure he came in. Our team made sure he came in. So, joining us is defensive coach, the associate head coach now, with the title change. Dakota.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Dak, I know there's a bunch of people that are probably wondering, like, how you got involved with the dogs, how everything happened, and, just if you could kind of talk about the start of your hockey journey, like where you grew up, started playing, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. My story, I always think it's pretty cool because I didn't go the maybe stereotypical or normal, if you will, route to becoming coach in the NA and all the stuff that comes with it. So I played growing up, obviously, played high school in Ohio. I'm from Bowling Green, which is a great little hockey town tucked in the northwest corner of Ohio. And there's a college team there. The high school team there had a ton of success when I was growing up. So great environment to learn the game and kind of see what it was about. And then after playing in high school, I was just going to play club, like go to school and that, enjoy it. And then one of my friends asked me that I'd played with, he's like, hey, I'm coaching this youth Pee-wee travel team. Do you want to help and be an assistant coach and be around? And it's like, yeah, that sounds pretty fun. So I did that. I really enjoyed it. I probably helped with BG youth hockey stuff for 6 or 7 years. So kind of cut my teeth there. And while I was doing that, I was going to school, getting my degree in education from Bowling Green State University. At that time, I was working some other little side jobs as well. One of those included cutting film for the D1 college hockey team there at BG. I got pretty involved with them, eventually became the volunteer assistant coach. I was going to, go get my master's and kind of pursue the teaching route. And then Bowling Green asked me, like, hey, we don't have any money for you right now, which was fine because I was just getting into it. But I ended up helping them for the full year. Ty Eigner, Curtis Carr, great guys that helped me get started there. And after that, I was like, well, I really want to get my master's. Like, it's important to me. I want to kind of see where the hockey thing goes at the same time. So I became the graduate assistant coach at New England College, which is a little Division III school out east. I'd never been out there, but I thought it'd be great to pursue it and kind of checked off 2 boxes with one go. And that was a great 2 years, a little weird with COVID going on during that time and everything that went with that, but got my master's. And while that was going on, I was working with USA Hockey, doing some evaluation camps all over in Florida and North Carolina and Ohio, Michigan, just getting to know a ton of people. And I was at a camp in Michigan, and there was Division I, coaches around and everything that goes with that. And the week after that, I got a call from one of the coaches that was at that camp, and he's like, hey, I have this, I think, job opportunity for you, but the guy is really old school. He won't put it out on social media. He won't post it. He wants to just do it kind of the old-fashioned way. That guy was Rob Profit. So I picked up the phone and I called Rob Profit, and I got to know Prof. They had a spring camp, a pre-draft futures camp in Michigan that same week that I'd called him. So I went and met the staff and got to meet Prof and everyone, and Davey was the coach at the time, and it was it was awesome. I felt like it was a fit from day one. Lucky enough that Prof offered me the job, and fast forward, now this is my 3rd year, and I got a fancy job title as the associate head coach now. So I'd say it went pretty well.
Yeah. And I mean, prof is 100% old school. Like, and so ironically, you guys were the first, I would say, coaches that I feel like became friends with when I got up here. Because I knew nobody.
Yeah.
Like that first April where I was like my first actual month of work. And the one thing Nick, the guy that I replaced, told me, he goes, just be good to prof. If you're good to prof, you'll be fine. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to
Yeah.
prof. And I learned real quick. And that's the one time I came in to interview him was when I met you. And I talked about with RT last week that he made that joke between me and you when we first got up here. I'll tell you off camera to jog your memory.
I'm tracking. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
tracking you.
And that's when I was like, all right, I kind of like it up here. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Yeah, it's a unique place for sure, but you're so spot on, and that's what people told me when I, because you do your own research about, the job opportunity and that it's a, two-way street, and everyone was like, prof is the best guy that you could ever work for in the game. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs are not just the best organization in the North American Hockey League, but the best organization in junior hockey as a whole. And so I trusted the people that I knew, and ever since I've been here, I mean, it is home to me now, and people have treated me phenomenally, and it's amazing everything that goes into it. So lucky to be an Ice Dog, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that was the one thing I've noticed. Like, I've played college hockey. I played all over the eastern seaboard to go play, and from tournaments as a kid to playing in college. And I played in some rowdy barns, like Saginaw Valley, Indiana Tech, Oakland, depending on what weekend you're there. But the Dipper is insane. Like, one of my first games up here, there's like a family that's like 5 generations all sitting on the glass. I want to say it was series before the Chippewa Steel, where we got officially knocked out.
Yep.
3 seasons ago now?
Yeah, that was prof was the head coach that weekend.
No, that was before prof.
Before then.
The series
so that was a
before.
long, yeah.
And I literally saw the entire family just going at this one poor defenseman. I was like, holy crap.
The
Like,
kid still has nightmares about that, probably.
I would bet. I know Alberti probably has nightmares.
Yep.
Like, might want to keep an eye on the kid for like a week.
Yeah, they have a bye week. He'll recover.
The fans were ruthless this past weekend.
You can hear it on the bench. I don't care. Yeah, I'd maybe try to act like we don't hear it, but we hear it. They're loud enough, so it's
God.
awesome.
Yeah. It was. I was just sitting there. I was like, sucks to be a goalie.
Yeah, it's tough. But you're so right with with the Big Dipper. I mean, it's second to none. And yeah, just like you, have been in a ton of hockey rinks, and there's absolutely nothing like it.
Yeah, and just got to check my settings here, make sure. I want no audio problems this week. I don't want to worry about.
That's why
editing.
you've been grinding away at it. You're getting it fixed.
I think we officially got the problem fixed now, or at least I hope so.
I love it.
But yeah, so I mean, what we kind of have slowly been figuring out more and more what you do as a job. Like, when you came in, you're like, I'm the defensive coach, and then you talked about cutting field for Bowling Green. Go Falcons.
Yep, absolutely.
That was before I realized that I was too injured to go play D1. They were one of the schools I was looking at. It was them, Miami, Ohio, and then Western. Those were the 3 schools that I wanted to
The
go
old
to.
CCHA schools.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Old school hockey.
Yep.
Still love it to this day.
That's the best.
But, if you could kind of, I don't know, maybe not describe what you do like in a week, but, just kind of what you actually fully do, so people have a better understanding.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into being an assistant coach, or coach in general in our league. We have it looks like this big grand operation that the Fairbanks Ice Dogs are, right? And credit to, Prof for making it look what it is on the outside. But on the inside, it's a really tight little circle that works on it, right? So, and you're lucky enough that you get to see it, every day when you're in the hall and with the cameras and that. Like, there's not a ton of people. So, with that, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I guess for me, the number one priority that I have is taking care of our players. Our guys are our most valuable asset to the organization, and if they're not comfortable, if they're not put in a spot to allow them to have success and do what they do on Friday and Saturday nights, then I'm not doing my job and we're not doing our job. So, that's number one thing, is checking on the guys, making sure they have the schedule. If we have, public appearances, I'm talking to the schools and the teachers and saying, hey, guys, like, we got to get 4 players here at this time, and we're wearing this and we're doing this. And so that's a big part of it, is coordinating the players and making sure they're ready to go, not just for games, but also for public appearances and stuff like that. I'd say the other big aspect of what my role is within the organization is focusing on the defense, like you talked about. So Friday and Saturdays, I get to stand behind those 6, 7, 8 guys and help put them in a spot to let them do what they do best. So breaking down film is a huge thing. In practice, focusing on their little habits that they do, doing some individual skill stuff, which Ryan's brought to the organization and done a great job with developing guys, is his number one thing. And, that's why our NCAA commits are starting to go up again. And that's why we're starting to have more success is, again, it goes back to the players and doing a good job with them. So that's a big part of it. And then another big aspect is focusing on the future. It's definitely a balance, because you want to, I got to pre-scout the current opponent. I have to look at our past week's film and get our guys ready in that regard. But again, also building towards the future. So player procurement, looking at, future Ice Dogs or potential future Ice Dogs, making sure that the film on them is good, and then being like, let me talk to our scouting network and base and seeing if they've saw this guy. And sometimes it's them calling me and saying, hey, Dak, I saw this kid this weekend in Detroit or Chicago or Minnesota, and we need to talk to this coach because this kid can play. And there's so many stories of great players that we've had throughout the years that it starts with, I know Ryan talks about it a ton, but it really starts with our scouts and them doing the hard work behind the scenes, and then me calling the coach, and then bringing in Prof or Ryan as the closer after I introduce the kid to things and getting the deal signed. So that's pretty much, I would say, the big things. There's way more little details that I'll spare you the time and energy of, but it's super enjoyable, and it's made me a better person and a better coach too, being able to do what I do for the Dogs.
Yeah. And then usually going through the team, we might have one Fairbanks kid, but this year we got 2, and Haji and Chucky. I mean, and then I wasn't expecting a whole lot from Chucky's interview, because rookie, he's young.
Oh, he's special.
But I was super surprised. He was actually really good.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. He's a good kid.
Yeah, I mean, all this year alone, all 3 of the goalies are solid. I mean, from the few practices I've been to and then being at main camp at the Dipper, it really seemed like kind of everybody has it together, where usually there's a definite, like last year, there was a for sure starter, and then the other guy.
The other guy.
Yeah. I'll leave
I like
it at that. But this year it seems like there's no someone's better, or, it just depends on, all right, coin flip, who's going out, or as RT was saying 2 weeks ago, it comes down to rock, paper, scissors. So who's going.
That's how close they are. We honestly could. Usually with the goalie situation, it's, I know Ryan mentioned it last week, but again, Adam Carlson, our goalie coach, does a phenomenal job. We lean on him for a ton of things, all things goalie really, and we had a great goalie session today, and we do those a couple times a week, and Adam's a great sounding board for our three goalies to have and to get better with, and that's, you can manipulate your roster in certain ways depending on what your team looks like, and we feel like right now the best route for us to have success as a team is to have three goalies in the picture, and let's face it, all three of them have done a great job and they deserve to be here. We have Charlie, the local kid, young buck that got his first win in the Big Dipper, which is probably a pretty special moment for him. Jonesy was our tender goalie who's done a great job, everything that we've asked of him.
He's gigantic.
And he's a big kid, yep. And he's got some junior experience. Last year he played up in Canada, so that helps. And then Mason is the guy that Ryan and Adam found, and he's done everything right every step of the way, made it the old school hard way, and made it from camp to training camp through the beginning of the season. And I think he has the best numbers of the three and some of the best numbers in the entire league. So we have three guys that when, Adam, Ryan, and I decide, hey, you're going tonight, we're confident in every single save they're going to be able to make.
Yeah. And then, so I know people wanted, another segment, something fresh, maybe something a little new. So I got some in place, just a couple, just to start it out, see how it goes.
Yep.
We kind of took a quick look before, just to, double check. But yeah, we'll bring up some of the plays from over the weekend that I just thought were interesting.
Yeah. Some of these I've probably checked out. So
yeah. You probably got a
for
different
better
angle
or
from me.
worse, we're in it.
So let me get this pulled up real quick. So yeah, let me restart it here. So this is that goal that Robbie got cross-checked here in front.
Yep. So we definitely got to get out to the point a little quicker there. Started with Carly getting rockets is what we call it. So getting in the shooting lane, making sure, because when they roll up there, we're actually in, it's man on man, even though it's kind of a hybrid system. And then we got bodies in front. We definitely need to do a better job of boxing out. And then Robbie House tried to box out, but he ends up getting pushed right into Jonesy.
Wallop.
Yep. Pushed into him. Jonesy can't get out. And, credit to them. They shot this puck quick, and it's a great shot. So this is one I actually looked at on the iPad because it happened so fast. I'm like, did that go in? And our guys are like, yeah, back bar and out. So it was a good play.
Up in the far corner, and I was like, no way that went in.
Yeah, I know. It happened quick. You would like to say we could review it, but that's a non-reviewable play. It's probably a 50-50, but ref made the call. That's what we had to live with. And, yeah, that time I think it was 1-0 Jets then at that point.
Yeah, that was the first goal.
Yep.
I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, tough bounce. You can see we're asking the question, but the ref's not going to change his call. So.
And then we go into our power play. I saw a few changes throughout the weekend, and then I was kind of really impressed with say a high umbrella or 3-1-1, depending on what your hockey lingo is.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of different terminology there you can use.
But yeah, it seemed like the boys were really kind of passing with these up on top of the umbrella, and then we actually drew a couple penalties from this too.
Yep. Yeah, this is Norke's goal where he throws it in. The start of this is great because they do a good job of getting the Jets defenders spread out. So, and then some of that has to be movement, right, which we can do an even better job of, but catches on the dot lane and gets to the middle, and now you see how their killers are starting to run already. It's a trick because it can't be too spread out, but you also can't be too compact. So you find that happy medium. And obviously I think that's Timmer with the puck there, right?
Yeah.
So whenever Timmer has a puck, they know he's a threat. They have to respect that. So he pulls two guys over with him, and it allows Norky to walk down the lane. Good job protecting the puck. Berkey pops, so they have to respect him in the slot, and Norky just throws a shot on net, and it happens to go in. I mean, it's just a smart play, but it all starts like 5 to 10 seconds before that with Timmer drawing those guys over.
Yeah.
Big Dipper goes crazy.
And then in the second game, it was in the third period when I noticed the switch from the high umbrella to box and one.
Yep. Yeah, so some of that is Ryan seeing things on the bench. He always says, like, I'll play the cat and mouse or play the checkers game with the other team, right? So some things that he sees in there, the way they kill, some of that has to do with the personnel that are maybe fresh at the time, and then some of that has to do with whether we're on a 5-on-3 or a 5-on-4. So making sure that, they getting them spread out. This is an adjustment we made in the game. Yeah. So getting them spread out, and then Riccardi ends up as the kind of +1 guy in that box +1 look.
Yeah, and I don't think we scored on that one. We had a really nice chance.
I think we had the back door wide open look
Yeah.
and didn't go, but that's going to go in this weekend.
Yeah, just, so people understand. Is Roar going to get fined? Like team fine? Some of you people might not know, but there are player fines between the players.
Yeah,
Roar's got to get a player fined.
Well, why? Because he's 0 for 10?
I think missed 3 wide open shots. And I love that kid because he's insane. But
yeah, that's the craziest thing about Kyle is he's
so good.
He's a creator, yep. And last year, the same thing happened. He struggled to find the back of the net at the start of the year. Yeah, but I looked it up. This year, he's I think he's tied for 4th in the league in assists. So
yeah, he's playmaking wise, I have no issues. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it'll start to come though. It's one of those things. It's not just coach speak, but once you see it go in once, then they come in bunches. So yeah, I'm confident that first goal for him is gonna come at a really good time. I have a feeling.
I'm hoping it comes this weekend.
Yeah,
because the Dipper's gonna go nuts.
It will. The Dipper's always rocking, no matter what's happening. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I've never seen a more loyal fan base. Like last year, I think we were down 6-2, and that place was still packed.
Yeah, I mean, even on the Thursday games, the place is pretty much full.
Yeah.
It's outstanding.
Yeah, we'll jump back in here.
They're caught running. Berkey's able to eventually get the puck, and he rolls downhill with it. He does a great job of lowering his shoulder right there. Just protects it for that extra second, and then you can tell this is exciting for us to see because Carlson works so hard, right? And sometimes you got to work smarter, not harder. So picking the spots to be 110%, everything you can give. He delays here to allow that puck to have a second for him to find it. And then look at that. I mean, he's right in the perfect spot. Stops at the net. It's
early Christmas gift.
Yeah,
was...
gift wrapped and everything, courtesy of Colberg. So
what I also liked here is Hodges coming down too.
Yep.
He's been impressing me so far this season.
Yeah, local kid that's done a phenomenal job. But that's what we teach the defenseman there, that weak side defenseman, because Madsen broke the puck out. The weak side D is traveling down dot lane there and getting up in the play. It's a pretty, I guess you would say, progressive style. We don't want our defensemen to just sit back and play defense. They got to jump up in the play at the appropriate time, and that they have to respect him when he's traveling down the ice there. So that probably pulls that Janesville Jet defender out a little bit more and allows Carly to find that space to put it home.
And the Dipper went wild.
Yeah. That's so awesome. It never gets old.
No. And then this is the last play I got, but this is one where Robbie got beat.
Yep.
But
due
to a little slip.
Probably had a little too tight a gap. We talk about staying a stick length 2 at very most. So right there, he gets caught on his edges a little bit, too far up the ice. And again, like credit to Janesville here. The kid makes a really good play. The one thing I'd be looking for here as the defensive coach is it's a game of mistakes, right? So mistakes are going to happen. So we talk about trust and being able to lean on your partner here. Norky on the backside, we've talked about it. The job now, since D1 is beat, you can't let that Janesville or the opponent forward cut across the crease because it makes that save that much more difficult for Charlie, right? So I think this is the only time they got one past him, but Norky's job here would be to shut that weak side of the net off and just give Charlie that controlled save on the strong side. So that would be the one little thing that I would add to it for a defensive position.
With that, if I get it right, you would have Norky come across to kind of clean up.
Correct.
And then have Riccardi come down, kind of pick up that back.
Correct. Like once your strong side D is beat, either F3, which is Riccardi in this position, or D2, which is Norkovicus, he has to cross over kind of the plane there, center ice, and take him, and then Riccardi would fill the backside lane underneath there. So, yeah, just a miscommunication. A lot of things are just happening fast, and if you talk it out on the ice, it's a lot easier.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been, since this is your third year now, and we are going into Club 49 Cup season with the start with that team down south because it's rivalry week. I'm not going to say their name.
Fair enough.
I mean, you might remember a little bit of something about that, being an Ohio kid.
Yeah, it's been a rough go football-wise, but I'm glad we're focusing on the hockey here.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan, that's, yeah.
Yeah,
Hits close to home, close to the heart.
But, I mean, since your time here, have you seen that get kind of crazier with, like, getting a little more rambunctious? Because how I got introduced to the rivalry was seeing the clip of Davey getting a little...
flipping the table.
Yeah, spicy with the broadcast crew down there.
That did indeed happen. That happened. So, yeah, I mean, as an Ohio guy, I knew nothing about the Fairbanks Anchorage rivalry. And now I'd like to think I'm pretty educated on it. So, guys like Timmy Lee, our equipment manager, Prof, guys that played for the Gold Kings that used to play against the Aces, right? That's where it all started, really. So, and then when the Wolverines became a team, 3 or 4 years ago now, I know they had some success, and the Ice Dogs have always been, one of the top, if not the top teams in the North American League. So, that definitely put a target on our backs, and, it's a fine line with the rivalry. Like, it's pretty crazy, and we're lucky to be a part of it. And, Club 49 Cup is special with us, Anchorage and Kenai. Those games the intensity is ratcheted up, right? Hostile environments when we go into Kenai, go into Anchorage.
There's an environment in Kenai?
There is. It's different, but there's an environment. But I would certainly like to think coming into the Dipper is a hard thing to find a way to have success in. So, we respect them and they respect us, and the three teams do a great job, especially being in Alaska. There's challenges that come with that, so I think we have respect for each other and the job the other coaching staffs do. But at the end of the day, we don't like them and they don't like us probably. So it's always nice to get one over them, and certainly this year, I think it's going to be no different. Every game against those guys is super tight, close, be some fights, some good checks, good goals. At least this weekend, we have the Big Dipper on our side, so that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and no shade towards Kenai. It's just from talking to some of their players, because I always try and some of the guys that are healthy scratches, I'll try and talk to them, see
get
what
some
they
info
think of.
and insights. Yeah,
just kind of see how it is, and they're not the most favorable from what I've heard towards like they don't get a whole lot of fans, so they like coming here. They like going to Anchorage and stuff like that. So it's always interesting to kind of see, like last year in one of the last Anchorage series, I can't remember his name, but he got hurt, like knee or something, like it was knee to knee, and he was sitting up in the far corner. And I was like, I was like, what's it like playing up here? And he just stared at me for a good 10 seconds and just, it was
He
like,
had to collect his thoughts. Yeah.
yeah, he just hostile. And I went, that's it? He goes, yep, that's it.
That's a great word to describe it. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's super cool. Like the rivalry in that you have to be in it to experience it. But to be honest, that's a big selling point for, when I'm on recruiting calls and that with potential tenders, I'm like, you got to get up here and just experience what a game against Anchorage or Kenai is like. It's, Club 49 Cup. We have our own trophy. Hopefully we can get that back this year.
Yeah.
So that'd be the goal. But, the message to, the guys in that is just, if we want to be the best team in the North American League, that first starts with being the best team in the Midwest Division. And even further than that, it starts with being the best team in Alaska. So making sure we take care of things in these games is super important to our, broader picture of what we want to accomplish this year.
Yeah. And geez, there's just so much stuff we could go over, and it's hard to like kind of put one and one together. But yeah, talking about kind of the recruiting and kind of bringing them in. I know RT was super happy when I made the video for camp and stuff.
Yes.
I wanted to make sure I pumped some of the Anchorage and Kenai stuff in there because that's usually the best games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like recruiting wise, because I'm also interested. So say if you have a kid that thinks he's got the stuff to play in the NAL, and he doesn't get scouted, but still wants to try and make it to camp or training camp, how would he kind of go about that? Would he email you guys, or would it be he would just kind of show up at camp, be like, I'm here?
So that's actually something that I probably should have mentioned when you asked about some of my roles and duties. I have to be super connected to our scouting network when camps are coming along. So we have, I think we had more like 150 plus players at our main camp. So there's two layers to that to peel it back for you guys even further. It starts with Futures Camp. So we do that, which you were at, right? Yeah. And that is 44 guys that we think have the potential to wear an Ice Dog sweater someday. And it's not this coming season. It's not the year after, probably. It's the year after that. So guys will come in, get a feel for it. We'll take some of those guys to main camp. Main camp in Minnesota, then we pick our team from. And the Ice Dogs are pretty old school with that. Like, obviously, we have our tenders and draft picks and veterans, but, we're going to take the best 30 or so guys up to Fairbanks for training camp then. And, historically, we've been a team that does a great job of getting those free agents, if you will, and making them a part of our team and the big picture with the Ice Dogs as a whole. And then, from there, it gets down to 24 is usually the roster size within the league. So, but your question specifically, getting those guys hooked up is, one, it's a lot of scouting. That's the most important and biggest piece of it. So we have massive lists. I mean, at the end of the year, I'll have over 1,000 names and contacts of players that we liked at some point in a little Google sheet. And that has to get whittled down into, enough guys to say, like, we want this kid to come to our camp. And then certain guys are good enough to be tenders or draft picks, right? Which is a whole nother process. But that network is built through our scouts. And then sometimes it's the players reaching out to you too. I get a few emails every day of, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm, heard about the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, and I'm really interested in playing for you guys in the North American League. And, you do your research, and I'll bump our scouts and be like, hey, I need you to watch this kid this weekend. And like, I looked him up, he emailed us, he seems pretty good. Or it's, the relationships with Prof. Ryan, myself, and hey, I know this coach and this kid looks pretty good. Let's give him a call, their coach, and see what he says about him. And we do our homework on each and every kid that's at our camps and, ends up playing for us and wearing the sweater someday. So it's a very complex process, but that will give you a little bit of insight into how it goes.
Yeah, because I was just curious, because not to keep talking about my past, because I've hung up the skates and stuff. But so for me, like my family, I was like the one kid that actually played competitive hockey. So I was kind of like the one leading the way to kind of figure everything out. And we didn't really know how junior hockey worked, because we only had around me, there was that time the Fighting Irish, which they're junior C or junior B. I don't know.
Detroit Fighting Irish, DFI maybe.
I think so.
That's
I have no
crazy.
idea what they've changed their name to, because when I first came in, they were Tennyson and like Chevrolet Tennyson, whatever.
Wow. Yeah.
And then there was the Metro Jets.
Yep. They
And
still do
then-
a great job, Metro
Yeah.
Jets.
And then I think the Toledo Cherokee.
Okay,
I
they're
think
still
those were,
around
like-
too. Yeah.
Those were like the couple of teams that were there, but we weren't really sure how it worked to get hooked up with them or anything. And then, like, I jumped into high school because, hockey's expensive, and some days,
Yeah.
sometimes money runs out, but, happens. And, like, the Fighting Irish came up and they're like, hey, we want you to come play. I was like, cool. What am I doing? And the guy goes, do you like to fight? And I went, yeah. Why? Because we're thinking of using you as like a
The enforcer role.
third line defenseman that's what we're going to need you for. And I went, I saw one of your games. It took 3.5 hours just to get through like 2.5, about halfway into the third.
Yeah, I had to put the cleanup crew on the ice.
Yeah. I think they had 15 fighting majors
Oh
in the
my
game.
goodness.
I was just like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mind fighting, but that's not even hockey at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, it's a complex landscape, so advisors have definitely changed the game, right? So having them involved in advising kids into different decisions there's good and bad to it, right? But advisors are a huge part of the game that can, there's good and bad ones, don't get me wrong, but they definitely can help a kid get educated on where he needs to go and the different aspects of junior hockey as a whole.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is that the teams are getting a lot more tech savvy, where
Yep.
there is still the profs of the junior hockey world where
He's tech savvy, but he doesn't admit it. Don't let him fool you like that. He's on TikTok, by the way.
he's on TikTok.
I didn't say that.
I'm going to go. I'm going to bring him on and just pull up a video. Be like,
Perfect.
hey, what's it?
Perfect. Yes.
But yeah, it's interesting that he's still very old school with, I would say, we'll say his tendencies, that
Mhm.
he goes about it the old way of doing it, which it's tried and true. It still works. Doesn't matter what day and age it is. You have your people you trust, and they have their people they trust. But with teams getting, I would say, more online, getting more out there, using social media so you can start finding teams more. Like, until I got up here, I didn't know there was a junior team up there, let alone 3.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I do now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like junior hockey as a whole, where it's not just OHL, WHL, and the QMJ that are getting the recognition in the show. It's starting to become USHL, the NOL, more stuff like that that's getting a lot more looks, I would say, than before.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to look at our showcase to kind of reinforce what you're saying, right? So, every Division 1, Division 3 school there is out at our showcase in Blaine in September. And yeah, I mean, the landscape is ever changing with different rules that the NCAA is going through with, NLI, and the major junior rule is going to change junior hockey as a whole. And there's so many things that go into, a kid committing, becoming a Division 1 athlete, and deciding where he's going to go play, hockey or go to school. And it's a wild, wild landscape right now.
Now, in that major junior rule, is that how they would get a stipend? Is that going to count like NLI, or what are we talking about?
It hasn't gone through, but there's talk about the proposal, I guess, would be on the table right now for the NCAA Rules Committee to allow major junior players into college hockey, which it's a double-edged sword because one, you would think there'd be less opportunities for other junior kids, right? Which could be part of it. But on the other hand, there's going to be more kids available to play Division I hockey, which means more teams, which means the NCAA could finally get, out west and maybe push into like the Southeastern Conference and that. So it's going to take time for any of this to come about, whatever. But that's why, it's really changing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was playing college, we played a college called Trine.
Yep.
And
in Indiana, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And one of my teammates went there, and his little brother that I helped coach went there. I ended up knocking him out in our outdoor game, and I felt horrible after I hit him. And I turned around and was like, "Oh, little Chris."
You're like, "Oh, I know who you are." Oops.
You just starfish.
Sorry, buddy.
But they had a kid that played in O, washed out, and then he couldn't play in NCAA and had to come play in ACHA and just demolished everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't even fair. He was scoring 6 goals a game.
Yeah.
Like, we saw them on this schedule for the weekend. We were like, all right, so who's going to take them out?
Yeah. You got to beat one player and then you're good to go.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was ridiculous. Like, I think they were runners up that year because he played 1 year and then was like, yeah, I'm good. So we were all happy after that. But
get this guy out of our league. He doesn't belong.
No, it just, even the skill guys were like, what am I supposed to do with him? There's a reason why he played in the O.
Well, I think you could see some of those ACHA or ACHA, whatever teams become Division I teams too.
Yeah. And I think JT's team, GCU.
Yep.
They surprised the absolute heck out of me.
Yep.
Because, they're still all juniors, but ACHA versus NCAA D1, there's a speed difference. And
right.
Although the Nooks didn't play, I would say, full speed, but they're still... JT's team played a heck of a game.
Yeah,
they earned that 5 goals.
There's a lot of good hockey players out there. That's why, to actually tie it back into our stuff, that's why having so many people that are kind of behind the scenes with a scouting network are super important. Yeah. So there's people out there that can play hockey all over the country. You just got to be in the right place at the right time to find them, and that starts with hard work. But yeah, there's so many good junior leagues, so many good players out there, and that's why I think, eventually here within the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot more Division I college hockey teams.
Yeah, which I think overall in the scope of things is good because, one, everybody loves hockey for the most part. If you don't like it, you obviously had a bad incident. My littlest sister wanted to be a hockey player, and then my second youngest sister fell and said she got hurt really bad, and then the youngest was like, nope, I'm done.
That was it.
That was it. That was the end of her hockey career. I was so bummed.
Ended before it started even.
Yeah. Learned to skate.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, I just think that rule could really change things for a lot of schools.
Yeah.
And then hopefully if the ACHA jumps on board and they get rid of the scholarship rule, because in the ACHA you're not allowed to have a scholarship, which I think is bogus. That's why I have a giant mound of student debt.
There's a lot of people sitting here saying the same thing that you are right now, so don't feel bad.
I think if they could jump on board with the scholarships too, that could help a lot too, because maybe there's not a whole lot of D1 players out there, but there could be a lot of kids that go to the specialized school that are ACHA, like JT going to GCU, or I went to Lawrence Tech, or the 2,000 other ACHA schools that are all over the country, because it's not just D1 and D3 like NCAA. It's D1, D2, and D3. So
Right.
like my school has a D1 team and a D3 team. So that's 58 kids right there that could potentially have a scholarship.
Yeah, there's so much hockey out there. It's wild.
And that goes to all the kids out there too. If you think you don't get a chance to play college hockey, just start shooting out some emails. Like you'd be surprised. Like I sent emails all over the country, only heard back from a couple, and then my teammate got recruited, and then I got a phone call a week later. It just happens like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting kind of seeing your perspective, especially from the defensive coach's side, and kind of seeing more what you do, because I kind of knew what you did, but not fully. And I feel like that was the thing for a lot of people, is that we know you're assistant coach,
Yep.
now officially the associate head coach. Make sure I get the title
Fancy
right.
title. Yeah.
But yeah, Dak, I appreciate you coming on this week. Maybe we can have you on a couple more times, because it's fun talking to you and kind of seeing the defensive side of things, since I was a defenseman. So it's been a few years for me, but I can wrap my head
Our
around
brains
it.
are clicking together. I like that. No, it's been great. I would love to come back. And yeah, I guess the last thing for me is I'm super excited to see everyone this weekend. It's it's always special playing the Dipper, and being able to coach behind these guys with this tremendous logo is something that have always wanted to do, is be a part of a great organization. And now that I've found it in that, I'm lucky to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what happens this year.
Yeah, and so I guess it's time to sign off. So episode 6, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe we had a little bit of fun. I mean, me and Dak are pretty close in age, so it's a little easy. But if you guys want to see more of the play breakdowns, I will have the fan question of the week next week, because I did see one in episode 4. His name is Mark. I'll make sure your question is answered. I have it written down on a sticky note on my computer, so I'll make sure to remember. But yeah, if you guys liked it, like, comment, subscribe. If you seeing us on YouTube, if you're seeing this from Facebook, share it. Always appreciate it. Share it on YouTube too. Make sure we get out there. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys stopping in. Hopefully, I'll see you guys for episode 7. If you like it, keep liking the show. So I will see you guys next week.